JobsOhio is a private economic development corporation celebrating 10 years in helping Ohio's companies and people prosper. We had the chance to sit down with CEO JP Nauseef and talk about the company's growth. Let's break down specifically JobsOhio and what it means.
JobsOhio is Ohio's private economic development corporation. We work outside, but alongside government. We're a private, frankly, we're a 501c4. We have a separate board of directors. Each member is appointed by the governor. We have an independent source of funding that is outside government funding, outside of tax dollars. We don't take any tax dollars. Our funding is generated through a relationship we have with the Ohio Liquor Enterprise. Ohio is a control state that controls the distribution of spirituous liquors. 8 years ago, JobsOhio bought the rights to Ohio's spirituous liquor enterprise. So we manage the distribution of liquor in Ohio, and we use those profits to fund economic development. So we're private, we have an independent source of funds, and we go into the marketplace not through a central body here in Columbus, but through regional partners. We have 6 independent regional network partners, and we work hand in hand with them, just like we work side by side with our state government partners, to deliver a state level of resources and incentives, but to do it with a local touch. And at the center of that model, we have our JobsOhio economic development professionals. What makes our economic development professionals different is that we pull them from the private sector, those 9 sectors plus the military and federal sector. We pull them from the private sector and then we turn them into economic development professionals. And it's those 4 attributes: private structure, independent source of funding for economic development, a statewide reach through our 6 JobsOhio network partners, and at the center, JobsOhio professionals that we pull from the private sector. That model is unique. There's not another state in the country that has it, and it provides Ohio with a competitive advantage in this fierce global competition for new capital investment, new talent, and the great quality of life that we all seek here.
And let's talk about, too, when people hear JobsOhio, it's not that you are responsible for all of the jobs and getting businesses here in the state of Ohio. You specifically focus or concentrate on, and I believe it's 10 sectors. Can you elaborate a little bit on the focus of JobsOhio?
Yes, that is one thing that definitely deserves a good explanation, because JobsOhio's mission doesn't cover the whole economy. We have 9 private sectors and then 1 public sector, the military and federal sector that we added in 2019. So there's 10 sectors, and out of those sectors, they make up about 1/3 of the gross state product, about just less than 1/4 of all the jobs in Ohio, and roughly 40% of the payroll. So they're typically a higher wage, more resilient. We call them tradable industries. They're industries that, overseas, we sell overseas, import from overseas with foreign direct investment, and they're not driven by population growth, like a gas station or a movie theater. They're typically industries, companies, and jobs that are could be in competition with other states or other countries. Not only is JobsOhio private as a way that makes us unique, we're able to negotiate with companies. They share all kinds of strategy information and financial information that they don't want shared with their competition. They don't want it shared with the financial markets until they're ready to share it. As a private entity, we can negotiate with them, and they can be assured that their information is held private.
And let's talk about the results. In its first 10 years, JobsOhio and its partners helped 2,100 Ohio companies successfully expand in our state and attracted 500 companies from outside of Ohio to establish a presence here. And in total, created more than 210,000 new jobs, over $10 billion in new payroll, and $64 billion in new capital investment and assets right here in Ohio. In the 10 years before JobsOhio, the state saw an 18% job loss in the JobsOhio 10 sectors. That's a loss of 230,000 high-paying jobs. That's the numerical equivalent of losing the #1 employers in Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Toledo combined. But since JobsOhio was founded, those same sectors in Ohio have grown 14%, and that's before we finalized 2021, which is shaping up to be the best year since JobsOhio's been founded, all while earning a world-class Net Promoter Score of 86. What that means is that our clients, businesses that we're working with to expand here in Ohio and to attract to Ohio, are delighted with the experience that they have with the JobsOhio professionals and our network partners. Ohio's attracted over $2.2 billion in venture capital, doubling the previous record in 2020. And in the last 2 quarters, Ohio has been #1 in the Midwest for early stage venture capital investment, more than Indiana and Michigan combined, and #6 in the country. Keep in mind, just a few short years ago, Ohio was dead last, 17 out of 17 peer states in venture capital, which is the fuel that takes small innovative companies and turns them into big global competitive companies. The last 2 years, Ohio is ranked #1 in economic development projects per capita, tied with Texas. That's 2 years in a row. Chief Executive Magazine ranks Ohio's business climate #7 out of 50 states, up from #41 10 years ago and up 3 spots from 2018. Ohio's economy is over 95% recovered from the pandemic, and our 10 target sectors' average wage per job was over $74,000 per year in 2020, and compare that to $58,000 per year for Ohio's overall private industry wage. Every indicator suggests that JobsOhio is Ohio's competitive advantage.
So where do you see JobsOhio going next?
We have, since 2019, we've tripled our scope of work. We've added 12 strategic initiatives to our economic development focus. And again, as the organization grew from 2011 to 2019, its primary focus was on mature companies, making loans, some grants, some marketing of our state, and then we had some pilot programs on talent and workforce and on job-ready site development. But in 2019, before COVID hit, we expanded that scope of work based on where we saw an opportunity for Ohio to advance. So we have a $250 million initiative over 5 years to make sure Ohio has a diverse portfolio of job-ready sites. So we continue to win those reshoring opportunities that are coming back from Asia and Europe, or those businesses that are looking to expand away from the East Coast or West Coast. We also, when we look back in 2019 at where Ohio's economy had opportunity, even though the economy was growing well in Ohio, but it was not an even growth. There were underrepresented population groups, minorities and women, veterans, the disabled, and underrepresented geographies in our state that weren't fully participating in the economy. And in order for Ohio to remain competitive, we had to have everyone at the table contributing. And so we established a new initiative called the Inclusive Economic Development Initiative. And we're investing about $400 million over the next 5 years just in those types of investments. And so far, we've invested in over 100 companies that would fit that category for underrepresented population group or in a distressed area. And we expect by the end of this year, there will be over 200 companies that have benefited from these programs all over the state. We believe we're on the front end of a generational opportunity. Very exciting time to be in Ohio, and frankly, Ohioans have worked hard for this. They've earned it, we deserve it, and we're looking forward to what's coming next.